The COVID-19 pandemic has brought in its wake profound political crisis, leaving several governments in a dilemma as to whether or not to proceed with scheduled elections. With over 23 million recorded infections in 188 countries across the globe and over 800,000 deaths, the threat of the coronavirus cannot be overstated, and governments have had a hard call to make on whether to let democracy prevail or put the safety of citizens first. According to the International Foundation for Electoral Systems, IFES, a total of 109 election events have been postponed globally. However, a director of advocacy and policy engagements at the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD, Dr. Kodja Santi, insists that, notwithstanding the pandemic, elections are crucial.
The tenure of the president is fixed. It cannot change. Come January 6, midnight, President Akufo-Addo's tenure ends. The Constitution does not make any other room for an extension of any kind. So that puts us in a very difficult situation. There are all kinds of permutations outside of the president's extension of his tenure, which might implicate the speaker and so on. But these are very kind of remote arrangements, which we have never tried it before. So the short of it is that come December 7th, we have to have elections.
Ghana is one of the countries whose government have taken what some describe as the controversial decision of going ahead with elections, despite the risk. But political parties have allayed these fears. Peter McMahon is a campaign manager of the ruling New Patriotic Party NPP, and he's been detailing the new campaign strategies his party has put in place to curb the spread.
There were mass rallies. We were together. We were dancing together. We were shaking our hands, holding our hands together, etc. at rallies, at Bukom, at Accra Stadium, etc. But now, we cannot do that. So you ask yourself, how then do you get the message, the information, the message to the voter? The first one is radio. Radio is a very powerful tool to get a message to a large number of people, particularly in the rural areas. TV is also another powerful medium. But that aside, there is the new trend of the social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and what have you. We have been using that, and we are going to use that very well, particularly for the newly registered voters aging between 18 to 35. But you see, internet connectivity in Ghana is not 100%. So it's not everybody that can come under the coverage of the social media. So you have to look at the traditional method. That is the one-on-one. Not in large groups. We train people to go so that social distancing and the protocols under COVID-19 are enforced and obeyed.
Montaka Mobarak is an NDC Member of Parliament for the Asawasi constituency in the Shanti region, and he also stresses the need to follow the safety protocols during campaign.
I mean, you need to be alive to vote. So don't say because of election processes you want to do things that may, God forbid, you fall ill and then you die. Then what? To what end? Then the very reason why you are struggling to register, to campaign, to do what? If you die before the election day, then what? To what end? Then it has not been helpful. This process, when we're doing Facebook Live. Our aim is to go online with our campaign. We'll go online with our campaign, and I'm assuring you, it's most likely that we'll even launch our campaign in September, maybe first or second week of September, and we'll do it online. And we'll take our campaign online to ensure that we reach out to our people. People hear our message, people know what we are in for, without necessarily the large gathering and possibly spreading the disease. So that's what we intend to do.
Some parliamentary candidates have also been speaking about how they will go about their campaigning this year.
So the impact of COVID-19 on our campaigning in this year's election is both positive and negative. It makes it a lot more expensive and a lot more difficult, because now you cannot gather huge crowds. Now you need to get to the grassroots. Definitely, COVID-19 has had a very, very big impact on political campaigning all over the world. As it is now, you cannot have the huge rallies and the big crowds that we've been having in the traditional campaign. But necessity is a matter of invention.
A number of countries that have gone ahead with elections have recorded an impressive turnout. In Poland, for instance, the presidential elections were held, but they recorded a 0% turnout in what is being deemed a ghost election, proving that some people have reservations about going out to vote in the midst of a pandemic. But Mr. McMenu is optimistic that this will not be the case in Ghana.
You say coming events cast their shadows. The recent voter registration, many people were saying because of the COVID, people will not come out to register. And I think you agree with me that it was a very successful voter registration. The numbers are quite good, the numbers that got registered. So I think that looking at that trend, I can predict that the voter turnout will be high, looking at the turnouts for the voter registration.
Dr. Santi of the CDD raised red flags about the commitment of political parties to enforce COVID-19 protocols, as he has already witnessed blatant violations of protocols during campaigns.
The most challenging part really is the campaigning period, which has begun, and we're already seeing that people are already flouting the rules, the protocols. So there's a lot of responsibility on government on what kind of protocols and education they put with the campaign period, how they're going to manage it. At the moment, the way I see it, it's not good, because you don't want to create conditions where the numbers start ticking up again. I think when Benin did their elections, they kind of banned campaigning, but that is not something that should be encouraged. They might ban large rallies and things like that. You might ban night campaigning, because that's where there's almost difficult, just like the way we ban nightclubs and so on and so forth. It's very difficult for you to even do social distancing during that evening. So and the campaigns, as we know, somebody's traveling from one town to the other. By the time they get to maybe the last, it's very late. The supporters come out, and before you know, you have a rally. So there could be protocols that I think put in place to ensure by the task force to ensure that we kind of still mitigate the spread of the disease. Otherwise, by the time we get to elections, you begin to see the thing.
Mr. McMenu, however, admits that the pandemic will affect the usual mood of the campaign.
Like you said earlier, you used to have these huge rallies where people dance and all of that. Do you think it's going to take away from the campaign in any way?
Well, sure, the razzmatazz aspect of the campaign is going to go down, unlike the previous years. But if you want a message to sink, the best method is one-on-one.
It is my hope that all the safety protocols will be duly observed in order to avert a further spike in Ghana's case count. Reporting for Citi News from Manchagbona here in Accra, my name is Nashika Caesar for Citi News.